Hello everyone. Got 5 dirty jokes for you today. So on a bright Saturday morning, Margie and Sharon, two close friends, decided to meet at their favorite coffee shop to catch up and chat about life. As they sipped their coffees, the conversation shifted towards their love lives. Margie sighed and said, "I don't know what to do. I'm too shy to ask for it, and he doesn't initiate enough." Sharon, having experienced a similar issue in the past, decided to share her secret technique with Margie. "Well," she said, "I have a surefire way to spark my husband's interest." Margie's eyes widened, and she leaned in, eager to hear the details. "Oh, do tell," she implored. With a sly smirk, Sharon revealed, "When we're sitting together, I just slowly slide my hand down his pants and say, 'My, darn you cold in there. Could use some heating up.' It works every time." Margie laughed and said, "You know what? Maybe I'll give that a try." A few days later, the friends met up again. This time, however, Margie was in a foul mood. "You almost got me divorced," she snapped at Sharon, who was astounded by her friend's claim. "What? How?" she asked, genuinely perplexed. Margie recounted her experience. "I did exactly what you told me. I sat next to my husband, slid my hand down his pants, but it wasn't cold, it was already hot." Sharon, still confused, asked, "So, what's the problem?" Frustrated, Margie continued, "I asked my husband why the inside of his pants was hot and not cold like your husband, Sharon." One Saturday morning, Sam and his wife Rachel found themselves at the club's golf course, ready for a friendly match. Rachel positioned herself to take the first swing, and to Sam's amazement, she drove a 300-yard tee shot straight down the fairway. Astonished, Sam exclaimed, "Wow, I have never seen you play this well before." Rachel beamed and replied, "I took lessons." The next day, they decided to test their skills on the tennis court. They teamed up for a mixed doubles match against another couple from the club. Throughout the game, Rachel amazed Sam with her powerful serves and perfect aim, never missing a point. Impressed, Sam said, "Wow, I have never seen you hit so well before." Rachel, grinning, responded, "I took lessons." On Sunday evening, the couple decided to enjoy a quiet dinner at home to wrap up their eventful weekend. Rachel spent the afternoon preparing a sumptuous feast, and when Sam saw the perfect plates of beef Wellington set on the table, he couldn't help but gush, "Delicious. I have never seen you cook like this before." Rachel smiled and said, "I took lessons." After enjoying their meal and feeling the romantic atmosphere, Rachel gave Sam that enticing look, and they both headed upstairs to their bedroom. About 30 minutes later, Sam rolled over, still in awe, and exclaimed, "Wow, that was incredible, amazing, so hot." He paused for a moment and then added, "I want a divorce." So a police officer was parked on the side of the road, monitoring the speed of passing vehicles. He noticed a car whizzing by at a speed significantly above the limit. The officer quickly started his patrol car and pursued the speeding vehicle, eventually catching up to it and signaling for the driver to pull over. The driver, a middle-aged man, begrudgingly obliged and stopped his car on the side of the road. The police officer approached the vehicle and said with a stern tone, "Sir, I clocked you at 80 miles per hour. The speed limit here is 55. The driver, trying to remain calm, responded, "Gee, officer, I'm quite certain I had the car on cruise control set at 60. Perhaps your radar gun needs calibrating." In the passenger seat, the driver's wife, a woman with a kind face and a knitting project in her lap, looked up from her work and interjected, "Now don't be silly, dear. You know that this car doesn't have cruise control." The officer raised an eyebrow and began writing out the ticket as the driver shot his wife a look of annoyance. "Can't you please keep your mouth shut for once?" he growled. The wife merely smiled and replied, "Well, dear, you should be thankful your radar detector went off when it did, or your speed would have been even higher." The officer's ears perked up at the mention of a radar detector, and he promptly started writing a second ticket for the illegal device. The man's frustration grew, and through clenched teeth, he hissed at his wife, "Woman, can't you keep your mouth shut?" The officer, now more irritated, noticed another infraction. "And I see that you're not wearing your seat belt, sir. That's an automatic $75 fine." The driver, scrambling for an excuse, stammered, "Why yeah, well, you see, officer, I had it on. But I took it off when you pulled me over so I could get my license out of my back pocket." His wife, not missing a beat, chimed in, "Now, dear, you know very well that you didn't have your seat belt on. You never wear your seat belt when you're driving." The officer sighed and began writing out the third ticket as the driver turned to his wife, barking, "Will you please be quiet?" Feeling sympathy for the woman, the officer asked, "Ma'am, does your husband always talk to you this way?" She looked at the officer with a sweet smile and replied, "Only when he's been drinking." So it was a quiet Sunday afternoon, and a father decided to seize the opportunity to have a meaningful conversation with his teenage son about the importance of a good education. As they sat together in the living room, the father began to explain how a college degree could significantly impact his son's future and open doors to various opportunities. Curious and eager to understand, the son asked, "Dad, what's the difference between a man with a college degree and a man without?" The father, pleased to see his son's interest, replied, "Well, son, both men can perform the same job, but the outcome will vary depending on whether or not you have a college degree." "How so?" inquired the son, intrigued by his father's statement. "You see," the father explained, "if you were to rob a man without a college degree, you'd be prosecuted as a criminal and sent to jail. And what if I rob a man after I've received a college degree?" the son asked, trying to grasp the point his father was making. The father smiled and responded, "In that case, they'll address you as a special agent of the IRS." So Jeff and his girlfriend Jenny were a young and adventurous couple, always seeking excitement and new experiences. One day, they were watching a movie about a daring heist, and an idea struck them. Why not try their hand at bank robbery? They devised a detailed plan that assigned Jenny the responsibility of handling the actual robberies at gunpoint inside the banks, while Jeff would wait outside as the getaway driver. Initially, their escapades proved successful. They pulled off a series of heists that grabbed the attention of the media and even earned them a folk hero status. However, as with most crime sprees, their luck eventually ran out, and they found themselves caught and facing trial. The judge sentenced Jenny to 10 years in prison, while Jeff received a 2-year sentence. Upon arrival at their respective prisons, they discovered a clerical error had been made. Jeff was now slated to serve 10 years, while Jenny would only serve 2. Despite Jenny's insistence on rectifying the situation, Jeff persuaded her to keep quiet about the mix-up. After serving her 2-year sentence, Jenny was released and remained loyal to Jeff. She visited him every month, and they exchanged heartfelt letters and phone calls throughout the remainder of his 10-year sentence. Once Jeff finally completed his time, the couple reunited, got married, and moved to a different state to start fresh, leaving their criminal past behind. Together, they built a family filled with children and grandchildren, living a life full of love and happiness. As they grew old together, their bond only strengthened. On their 50th wedding anniversary, they hosted a grand party attended by their entire family and friends. The celebration was filled with laughter, stories, and reminiscing about their journey together. As the evening progressed, the conversation shifted towards the secrets of a long-lasting and happy marriage. One of the guests, intrigued by their unique love story, asked Jenny why she decided to stand by Jeff during his time in prison, despite the numerous hardships they faced. With a loving smile, Jenny looked at her husband and replied, "Well, you know you have found the one when you finish each other's sentences."